I have an agency, it's called Audiencia, and I work with my clients one-on-one on every single level of their creator-led business, whether it's content, branding, marketing. At this point, we have done it all. And in December of 2024, we actually managed to become the highest grossing health community globally on Skool. And ever since, we kept being in the top 3 forever. I don't like to leak my clients' numbers, but it is publicly available. We have around 1,850 members right now, times $39 a month. That's $72,000 a month, all generated through one singular VSL that we uploaded on YouTube instead of uploading it on a landing page. I spent 4 days writing that VSL, and it got copied by a lot of my clients' competitors as soon as they saw our community blow up, which is why I need to write a new one anyway. So I thought, how about I just break this down in the YouTube video and explain everything from top to bottom as to why it made us as much money and why that many people actually converted into community members. By the way, if you want to acquire inbound clients organically, just DM me VSL on Instagram. There's a link in the description. We scale, nurture, and sell to our clients' audiences all at the same time, and that way help them acquire more clients for their info, service, or coaching business. And now, enjoy. Now, this VSL was an absolute game changer. We uploaded it on YouTube. We actually didn't upload it on a landing page because YouTube VSLs outperform landing pages by miles, but I'll come to that in just a moment and explain exactly why. Every single time that we design a VSL, we go by one singular objective, and that objective is, what do I need to prove so that even if somebody hated me, they would buy into my solution? But let's get into it.
Being attractive nowadays is more important than ever because whether we like it or not, with online dating apps, social media, and online job applications, you often don't stand a chance to meet somebody nor get the job you want without looking attractive. Even though this may sound controversial, this is literally just the unfortunate reality, and most people will complain about unfair standards and stay stuck. This is why I want to talk about becoming attractive and how anyone, despite their age or genetics, can see first visible improvements in their appearance within 2 weeks without buying any products or trying any additional looks maxing techniques online. This works because it's built on tried and tested fundamentals.
This was the intro, and the reason why it works very well is because of a system that is called the loop system. If you want to write a hook for a VSL, for a YouTube video, for an Instagram reel, for whatever, you need to open up loops. Loops are basically questions that you open up without actually giving them the answer to a question. For example, we're telling people,
being attractive nowadays is more important than ever because whether we like it or not, with online dating apps, social media, and online job applications, you often don't stand a chance to meet somebody nor get the job you want without looking attractive.
So we basically open up the loop of telling them, hey, if you actually want to live a fulfilled life, if you want to have romantic relationships, if you want to have a good job, if you want to be successful, if you want to live the life that you want to live, then being attractive is going to play into your cards very well. Now, the open loop is, hey, looking attractive is actually going to make my life easier. And you only close that loop by telling them how to become attractive. That is how you build a hook. You open up loops that you don't close, that you only close throughout the video. But you actually need to deliver on your promises throughout the video, because if you don't, people will go out of the video unsatisfied because they didn't get an answer to that question.
Even though this may sound controversial, this is literally just the unfortunate reality, and most people will complain about unfair standards and stay stuck. This is why I want to talk about.
Now, the thing about unfair standards is something that we mentioned because of one reason and one reason only. People want to be superior. They have the urge to not be like everybody else, not feel like the people who always complain, but they actually want to be the people who take action. That's like the standard action taker, masculine picture that we have of men, and you want to be that man. So you don't want to click off a video, but you actually want to learn how to take action instead of just complaining, because some of them may even feel embarrassed by what we're saying right here. Tell them, hey, a lot of people are complaining, and if they are complaining as well, then they will feel embarrassed and be like, yeah, that's actually me. I should watch this video for real.
About becoming attractive and how anyone, despite their age or genetics, can see.
And now we're basically giving them a taste of what they can get. Basically showing them, hey, these are the results that we got. These are the results that we achieved. And I'm going to show you how we achieve those results. So we open up 3 loops, right? First, we told them that you need to be attractive. Then we told them that most people complain about unfair standards and therefore stay stuck. So it's like, okay, what should I do instead? That's the second loop. And the third loop is, hey, there are actually people who achieve great results with this. 3 loops opened. And now we can continue watching the video until the end.
Visible improvements in their appearance within 2 weeks without buying any products or trying.
Now, I want to be brutally honest with you guys. Oscar and I didn't sit there and think, oh, how can we make people buy our product? We literally did research for multiple days and then wrote this VSL because every single thing that he said inside this VSL from the beginning until the end was true. Every single thing. these guys did achieve first results within 2 weeks. And I would strongly advise you that in your VSLs, you will be very precise with your results. Don't overpromise. Because if you do overpromise, one thing you must realize is the average info business has a lifespan of 2 to 3 years, which means if you're going to lie to people and tell people, hey, these people achieved great results within 2 weeks, but it's actually 2 months or 3 months, that's going to come out and you're going to shorten the lifespan of your business very quickly. One lie can ruin your entire info business and lose you millions and millions of dollars. So make sure that you're always very precise about your results. I'm talking, if you're making 200K a month in revenue in dollars, then don't tell them that you're making 200K a month. Because there's people who are Australian and then tell them I make $200,000 a month, but it's actually Australian dollars and people think it's US dollars. So it's actually 120,000 US dollars and you have profit margins of like 40%. So you're actually making like 40, 50K a month in profit. And then you also pay taxes because you're in Australia. So you're actually making like 30K take home. So be precise.
This works because it's built on tried and tested fundamentals, improved through years of trial and error, as well as hands-on experience during my internships at top biofunctional academies and institutes, as well as contributing to research from multiple scientific studies and meeting various key professors. Now,
this is still completely true, right? The reason why we mentioned this is because Oscar Patel is 19 years of age. And he's a 19-year-old telling 24-year-old, 25-year-old, 26-year-olds how to become attractive. A lot of people will look down on him and will think, oh yeah, no, it's just puberty. It was just puberty. This kid has no idea of what he does. But he does have an idea of what he does. Because there's a lot of people who are of the age of 25, 26, 27 who achieved incredible results with what he did. And that's because he had these internships. So understand that at the beginning of YouTube or VSLs or marketing, people will have no idea of who you are and they actually won't give a fuck about you. What you then need to do is to make sure that these people are completely aware of who you are and what you have achieved and why they should listen to you. Because if you don't tell them, they have no reason to listen to you. Because there's a lot of people who talk BS, who have no idea of what they're talking about. So make sure that these people know, hey, no, I actually have an idea of what I'm talking about because of this, and that reason, right? Results, my internships at myofunctional institutes, meeting Dr. Mike Mew, etc.
I need to be aware that just because I'm confronting you with these big transformations doesn't mean that you're necessarily guaranteed to get the same results. The truth is that every human being is different and has different deficiencies. We even have different ideals. But what I can tell you is that I've personally seen a lot of people achieve incredible results through these fundamentals. Growing up, I was incredibly underdeveloped. I was outgrown by my peers at school. I lacked any masculine features. And honestly, I was mistaken to be a girl every single day, leading to me getting bullied and ridiculed day in, day out. And I always struggled with the fact that I wanted to improve myself, but I had no clue where to start. Social media.
Another purpose of this part is to pre-handle objections before people actually click off a video. So an objection that a lot of people had on sales calls or in the DMs or on Instagram and on YouTube inside the comments is he just has great genetics. But if we look at him as a kid, he didn't. He looked like a girl. I think he was like 16 here or something. 16 and he looks like 12. So basically you need to find out for yourself what the objections are that people have and then pre-handle them on the VSL so that once people are on sales calls, these objections are pre-handled and they already know, no, Oscar doesn't have good genetics. He actually has very bad genetics and he looked like a girl when he was a kid. And then he developed because of the tried and tested fundamentals. So to apply this to your own VSLs, find out the objections that people have, pre-handle these objections in the VSL, especially in the beginning, because they could have these objections and even just click off a video because of the objections that they have in their mind. So if you pre-handle them, they have no reason to click off a video or no reason to not believe what you're saying. Your VSL needs to become absolutely bulletproof in the first 3 minutes.
And I always struggled with the fact that I wanted to improve myself, but I had no clue where to start. Social media was full of these people assuming that they had the best, newest and most efficient method out there to become more attractive. Mewing, jawline gum, carnival, zinc pills, push-pull legs, the list goes bloody on. But no matter how much effort I put into it, I got no results except an asymmetrical jawline caused by the bloody jawline gum itself. That put me into an endless loop, assuming that...
This is the same thing as before, pre-handling objections. There are a lot of people who tried mewing, who tried jawline gum, who tried push-pull legs, who tried going to the gym, who tried all these methods, or carnivore diets, for example, who tried all these methods, but didn't get anywhere. And that is an objection that people had. And that is an objection that people had as well. Oh, I already tried most of the techniques, but it doesn't work for me. So here he's basically handling that objection, telling people, hey, I tried it as well, but this still worked for me. But it's like a standard thing that you also do in emails, but I'm still mentioning it because it's very important.
I was literally just cursed by my genetics, or I didn't have enough discipline to stick to any of these influencers methods for long enough. The problem was neither. It was actually just that I never understood what the fundamentals were that make somebody attractive, and more importantly, that make somebody confident. But rather, I spread myself too thin on all the methods and products out there, which weren't meant to help me, but were literally meant to keep me buying. This was me around 2 years ago, before I started focusing on the fundamentals. This was me literally just a couple of months later, and now this is me today. And now I would...
So first you opened up loops, then you show them results, and then you pre-handle their objections. So now the next part is the objective that I actually told you about, which is what do I need to prove so that anybody would buy into my solution, even if they hated me? And this is what we're about to do.
I'll explain to you in 5 simple steps how these...
Now the reason why we're doing this animation with 5 simple steps is pretty simple. People still want dopamine when they watch YouTube videos. They might be tired of the Imagazi type over-edited animations and editing, but they still want the dopamine. They just want it in a different sense. They still want to look forward to something. They still want to know that there are 5 steps that they can look forward to and watch, and that is going to build intrigue. So this has the purpose of building intrigue, but something that a lot of people forget. They'll tell their editors, oh yeah, just make my video look cool. But behind editing, there's a lot of strategy. Like I tell my editors a lot of strategy. I'll go through them. My editors, even the editor that is editing this video right now, Esteban, he knows a lot about marketing because I'm teaching him all the knowledge that I have about marketing so that he can play into my cards with his editing. And that is what happened here as well. That's something that you want to make sure when you work with your editors. They shouldn't just be editors. They should know everything about marketing, everything about sales, everything about VSLs, and everything about strategy to make somebody watch the video until the end.
Fundamentals that I keep harping on about actually work and what to start with. Here we go. What trait makes somebody actually attractive? Okay.
Now we go through the chain of beliefs that we need to make somebody believe in order to make them trust us, that in order to become attractive, you need to become healthy. How do we prove that without even leaving them room to not trust us? How do we make sure that they buy into our solution, not into our product, but into our solution? Those are 2 different things. You want to make somebody buy into your solution, and then you want to tell them, hey, you can actually get that solution at my product. But you shouldn't sell them your product throughout the VSL. That's only something that you do until the end, but we'll come to that later on.
I'm sure that you've noticed that one person who looks effortlessly attractive without even trying. Meanwhile, there are other guys who spend hours of their day, if not hundreds of dollars, buying every product but still look off. Most people think attractiveness is about luck, genetics, or isolated features like height or a sharp jawline, but that is literally not the truth. A developed facial structure can be attractive, but there's something deeper underneath that makes people feel respect. So now what we're going to get to is to prove them the first belief that they need to adapt through unwavering proof, literally scientific studies, in order to make sure that these people believe what we're saying. Attraction towards someone. If looks were just about features, then plastic surgery would instantly make people attractive. But it doesn't, because the human brain isn't looking for an attractive person. It is looking for biological fitness. In 2014, a study from the British Psychological Society found that the CEOs of the leading UK businesses have greater facial width. We demonstrate that the perceivers rate the faces of CEOs as higher in dominance or success, and the ratings of dominance or success are themselves correlated with facial width, or that the firms whose male CEOs have wider faces relative to facial height achieve superior financial performance, which is caused by better decision-making dynamics within a firm's leadership. Which basically means that the CEOs with the wider facial structure are not only perceived as more dominant and successful, but actually end up being more dominant and successful because their team trusts their decision-making more. Why? Because those traits signal competence. Now, why did we use studies? Why didn't we just tell them, hey, this is what worked for me and this is what worked for them? Because of one singular reason. If you want somebody to buy into your solution, even if they hated you, you need to make sure that you detach yourself from the arguments themselves. Now, in this case, we used studies. We told them, hey, you don't actually need to believe me. You don't need to believe a 19-year-old
who's selling a paid community, trying to make money, you only need to believe these studies. You actually don't need to trust me. Look at these studies. They will prove exactly what I'm saying. If you don't believe me, here's proof. And that is something that you could use as well, whether it's in business, fitness, looks, health, whatever niche you're in. If you're in business, you could mention arguments that were named by Imam Ghazi, Andrew Tate, Alex Hormozi, Sam Ovens, whoever, who supported your arguments in a podcast or an interview. And that is how you detach yourself from the arguments. You're basically saying, hey, if you don't trust me, trust Sam Ovens or Alex Hormozi or Andrew Tate or Imam Ghazi. Maybe Iman and Andrew aren't the best examples because not a lot of people trust them, but you would trust Sam Ovens and Alex Hormozi. Or if you're in the fitness niche, you pull out a vlog from Chris Bumstead where he explains how he built his physique, where it's like, okay, don't trust me, but just trust the 6 times Mr. Olympia.
A study in Scientific Reports on young men found that a good immune system leads to higher attractiveness. The authors wrote, we show that men with a stronger stress response are considered significantly more attractive and healthy. Men with more masculine, heavier facial features appear significantly healthier and more attractive. Men with proper...
So first we proved to them that being attractive actually has a lot of benefits. And now we prove to them that being healthy is considered being attractive. So we're getting onto the next chain of beliefs. Again, detaching Oscar from the argument.
Posture, chewing and swallowing and breathing habits develop a better symmetrical facial structure, whilst unhealthy posture, mouth breathing and inflammation cause maxillary retrognathia, a common condition that 98% of people nowadays have, causing a weak jaw, weak chin and facial asymmetry. Men with high stress and therefore higher cortisol experience more fat retention, weaker bones, hair loss and premature wrinkles, whilst low inflammation and balanced hormones causes a sharper jawline and clearer skin. The stronger your health, the more attractive and the more respected you become. What I'm trying to say is being attractive is not about the traits, but attractiveness serves as nothing but a biomarker, proving that a human being is healthy and therefore also more capable.
Now we did prove that being healthy is being attractive. Now the next step is to actually tell them that the traditional way of using products and using the typical techniques does not work. And that, again, we do through studies, scandals, and through detaching Oscar from any arguments, telling them, hey, you don't need to trust me. You just need to trust these articles that I found online.
It is the unhealthy lifestyle itself, which brings me to my second point, which is, why do most people get stuck and never become attractive in the first place? Today's beauty and health industry has transformed from natural remedies and holistic wellness to an $85 billion industry of synthetic drugs, centralized licenses, and corporate influence that has decimated the health of an entire generation. And if you don't believe me, just look at who owns the industry. You'd assume you're buying from different companies, but when you look deeper, you realize that the same corporations that sell you processed food also sell you the skincare to fix the damage caused by the processed food. Nestle, who owns Smarties, Kit Kat, Nerds, and a bunch of soft drinks, also owns L'Oreal, Garnier, and Maybelline. So the same corporations pushing processed foods that decimate your skin health profit from the medications people need to fix the skin health that they decimated. The reality is the entire industry is designed to keep you dependent.
How are you not going to believe this? Nobody needs to like Oscar in order to believe what he just said. He basically proved to them, hey, the same people who are actually destroying your skin with their product are building products to then heal your skin again from the product that they create on their own, which destroyed your skin. So he's basically proving to them, hey, these people are not to be trusted. Becoming attractive by becoming healthy is trusted. Becoming healthy through the traditional way is not trusted. So now that we actually proved to them both of these points, we come to the next point. People at this point believe us that very traditional way is not a good way and that the best way is to become healthy. So now the only thing that we need to explain to them is how they can become healthy.
So what are the fundamentals that fix your health so that you can naturally become attractive? The truth is, in order to improve, it is not so much about what you add, but more about what you remove. People keep adding things and end up in an hour-long routine that nobody could follow in the first place. In fact, there are only 5 things to fix your health. And
this again was pre-handling an objection. You need to do that throughout the entire video. Especially we included this in this part because here it is most important. Most people just fail because they have hour-long routines and just don't have the time to follow these routines and then think that they don't have the discipline. But we're basically telling them, hey, you don't actually need to have a long routine. It is more about what you remove than what you add. So again, we're pre-handling objections here, and you should do that throughout the entire video so that no objections are left at the end of the video.
And these are the 20% that get you 80% of the results. And the first thing is to fix your nutrition. Most men today grow up.
Now, this part is actually not that interesting. This part has nothing to do with marketing or copywriting. What this basically is basically just us giving them value. And the reason why is very simple. It is because we uploaded this VSL on YouTube, and now we come to the point that I explained earlier, which is to upload your VSLs on YouTube and not on landing pages. YouTube has this great function of showing your YouTube videos to as many people as possible to keep them on the platform for as long as possible. So if you're going to give them value, people will not only like your video, but they will watch your video even longer, and they will also save your video or share your video with others. The purpose of this is that we actually don't spend any money on ads in order to get people to our VSLs. In fact, we make money because we have negative ad spend. YouTube is paying us to keep people on their platform. So if we actually make use of the algorithm by giving them exactly what they want, because we told them in the beginning that we would, so we do, because we also don't want to ruin our reputation, because that's basically why people buy from us. We are giving them exactly what they want, so that not only do they have an incentive to like Oscar and buy into his mission, whether they buy his product or not, but they also have a reason to spread the video to more and more and more people. I think we drawn 30K views with this video without leading anyone from Instagram or from other videos to this YouTube video. So that's just completely the algorithm. Nothing, no ads, no Instagram stories, just organic. So if we actually put that into a calculator and put 2% times 30,000, that's 600 people who just came into the Skool community through the VSL organically. So let's skip to the next part, the next start. This is where you sell the product. At this point, we prove to them three things. We prove to them that becoming attractive is important because people who are attractive have more benefits, like better jobs, better leadership qualities. We prove to them that in order to become attractive, they need to become healthy. And we prove to them that in order to become attractive, the traditional way is a bad way, that doesn't work, that is corrupt, that is corrupted by companies like Nestle. Now, the next part is to actually sell the product, because now they actually believe the mission. They believe, they bought into the solution, and you gave them the solution basically from top to bottom. But there's still open things. You gave them all the values, you told them what to do, but there's going to be details that they would like to know. If I'm going to tell them how to fix your nutrition, I can give them the ins and outs of fixing their nutrition, but they will want to know exactly what to buy. They can do that research on their own, or you can tell them, hey, you can actually just buy into my product. This is not a hardcore pitch. And we never hardcore pitch people. We don't tell them, we are the only source of information that you can trust. Because that's BS. Again, the market is very tired and they don't trust the typical Iman Ghazi way anymore of, I am the only hero of this story and you should trust me. They trust you by detaching from the results. And that is something very important. You need to detach from the result every single time that you do a VSL. Because if you don't detach, you will sound needy. You will sound desperate. And they'll think, well, he's just trying to sell me something. But what we're telling them instead is you have three options.
Trying to figure it out all on your own. Now you have three options. You can either act as if you never saw this video and continue to live life like the way you did before. You can take the knowledge I gave you and try and go through the trial and tribulation on your own, or you can let me help you skip that part. Now,
that is as simple as it gets. Give them an option. Don't tell them what to do. People hate being sold to, but they love to go shopping. Why? Because when they're being sold to, they feel like people are trying to force them to take an action, and people don't like to be forced to take an action. They like to make the decision on their own, so rather you give them the option. At this point, they would like to buy into your solution because of the amount of value and the amount of work that you put in order to change their entire paradigm. So they want to buy your product. The only thing that's keeping them away from them is whether they can afford the product or not. If they watched until here, they will be interested. But you shouldn't force them, because at the end of the day, that is going to trigger people. Because again, the market is tired, people hate being sold to, but they love to go shopping.
It may sound like I'm trying to sell you some $9.97 program that'll change your life in a couple of days, but that's just not the case. I wish I could do that, but I literally can't. I'm talking about long-term results that actually...
Now, what this was is actually called the but clause. The but clause is basically that whatever you say after a but, has more impact than what you say before a but.
And because of the skewed information online, I needed to go through years of trial and error to filter through all the BS that was out there until I was left with the essentials that actually worked. I then applied these on my friends, and the results were obviously incredible. But I still suffered.
Now, there's something that you'll realize, which is that we repeat stuff all the time. So here we're basically just pre-handling the objections again to then go into making big claims, which is basically telling them that, hey, my product is actually very good. This is very simple. You present them your product. You tell them exactly what results they can achieve, what they get in return.
All of the knowledge into a program which is available in my community.
For buying the product, what results other people achieved, and then what they need to pay.
Up with them. Now, if I could give you all of that for $39 a month, would you at least consider it? If yes, there is a link in the description which will lead you to the Skool About page where you can get even more information and make a reasoned decision from there. Now,
great. We pitched them. We told them everything. We told them the product. We explained to them the entire product, what it includes, what we're going to achieve, what other people achieve, how much it costs. That's the end of the video, right? Nah. Now, what we're basically doing here is to give them a reason to take action now. But one thing that is very important is actually that you need to follow up on the things that you say. If you're going to tell them, hey, there is an option that I'm going to increase the prices to $54 a month, live by it. Live by the truth. Do exactly what you told them. And that's actually what we did. We increased the price of the community from $39 a month to $49 a month. At the point of this VSL, we reduced the price temporarily to $39 a month again. But now we're going to raise it to $49 and later on to $54 a month. Again, be very transparent and be very precise about the things you say. Because if you lie only once, that will ruin your entire personal brand and therefore also the business that is attached to the personal brand, whether it's an info business, coaching business, service-based business, etc. Always follow up on your word. If you tell people I'm going to raise the prices, then actually do raise the prices. If you don't plan to raise the prices, then don't tell them that you're planning to raise the prices, because at the end of the day, it will come out. If I'm going to watch your video today and I'm going to go into the Skool community in 2 months, which I might do, I'm just going to see, hey, this guy was lying. Like 2 months down the line, he still didn't raise the prices, and he's probably not going to do that. So I'm not going to buy into his community because he was talking BS. He was lying. Always follow up on your word. If you're not planning to increase prices, then don't tell them that you're going to increase prices. Now, after this, you pitch them a second time. Simply because now they have the pressure of buying now or buying never because they don't want to pay $54 a month. So you simply pitch them again to get all the fence sitters who are thinking about it over the buying line.
$1 a month price now, you will keep that one forever. Before, I told you had 3 options: leave, try on your own, or let me help you. Most men would leave and keep searching for the next hack that never works. They'll waste years of trial and error when they could be seeing results in weeks. But you didn't leave. So obviously you want to improve yourself.
Now, I explained to you before that we are doing the animation in order to make people intrigued to see all the 5 steps. And as you see, we only showed them step 5 at the end of the video so that they only get the satisfaction for watching the video until the end. Those are the little percentages that make a huge difference. The little percentages that make people watch the video until the end. If they watch it until the end, the chance of them buying is genuinely much higher. And that's something that you should focus on. And that's something that we focus on because especially if you keep people on the platform for longer, you get more views on YouTube. And if you get more views on YouTube, even if your conversion rate may be a bit lower, it's like you can have a 2% conversion rate on a video that reaches 30,000 people or 3% conversion rate on a video that reaches 3,000 people. You'll make more sales. So focus on both performance of a video and also on the performance of a conversion rate of a VSL itself.
I'll see you on our next live Q&A call. Stop being absolutely cooked.
That is it. One thing that I wanted to mention is if you look through the entire video, you'll realize that we actually didn't use any music. There's a lot of people who over dramatize their videos, who want to be a 2.0 wish version of Iman Ghazi with the dramatic music and the dramatic animations. And that is exactly why we don't use music. As I said before, the market is very tired and people don't want the Iman Ghazi type style anymore. And including music and including the big animations is only going to make you look like 99% of your competition. If you're a coach, consultant, or agency owner, you know exactly that 99% of your competition is pretty bad at what they do and they can't get their clients any results and they all look like 2.0 version of Hormozi, Sam Ovens, or Iman Ghazi or Andrew Tate. So if you're going to do what 99% of people do, like music and animations, you're going to be associated with 99% of people. These 99% of people are bad coaches, consultants, and service providers, which means people will associate you with bad coaches, consultants, or service providers. So don't do that. That is why we avoid using music at all times. You might think that that is going to increase the retention rate. We didn't have that experience. We actually have a higher average view time on YouTube videos that don't have music. I can't promise that that is going to work for you. It worked for us, but you should just try it out. And if it does work, then great. I hope you enjoyed this video and got something to apply to your own VSLs. If you're interested in scaling your own personal brand in order to act as a client magnet to scale your info, service-based, or coaching business to 7 figures a year, I don't have a magic pill that would make you a 7-figure entrepreneur in a couple of weeks, but I certainly did do that with one of my clients in a couple of months. If you're interested, there's a link in the description in order to send me a DM. Just DM me VSL and I'll come back to you in just a moment. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.